the extreme elements of the gender ideology gang, can I call them that? They're not content with taking everything away from adult female humans. Women, biological women, womanhood, motherhood, and literally everything that defines a woman. They are now going after historical female figures. Now, it's taken centuries, if not a millennia, for women to fight to have what they have today, and that is equality and equal footing with men. Of course, the feminists and the misandrists, they want more, because some of these people really hate men. They've really got it in for us. And so their target now are historical female personalities, characters, women who had to fight hard and dearly for their place in history, personal ambition, and more often than not, against all the odds. And I'm talking women, inspirational women like Joan of Arc, the Saint of Orleans. Now, we all know the story of Joan of Arc. She heard voices from God telling her that she had to lead the French army and drive the English away from France. A feat which she was very successful, and in the end it killed her. She was betrayed by her countrymen, handed over to the English, who burned her at the stake, and then she was canonised later on and is now known as Saint Joan of Arc. So she is a recognised, canonised saint. And what she did, what she went through, it wasn't easy, because she had to convince the Dauphin, which is the French equivalent of the Prince of Wales, or the heir to the throne, that the voices from God were true. She wasn't a witch, she wasn't a heretic. It was a sign from God, and then she had to lead the army. Can you imagine being a woman saying that in a male-dominated society, which all the world was back then? And not only that, but being successful. The battles she led against the English back then were largely successful, and she did it all by herself. Now, call her crazy, call her inspired. She did what she set out to do, and she managed to get the men to look up to her and make her their leader, which she was. So there's a play in the Globe Theatre in London, and it's about Joan of Arc. However, they've decided to make her non-binary. Now, I do have a problem with this. My problem with this is that, it's open season, and you can change the gender and make shit up about Caucasian, Western, historical figures. You can have ethnic people portray them, and you can make them out to be gay or non-gender, as was happening to poor Joan of Arc here. However, if the roles were reversed, and anything Western was made about a historical ethnic figure and is played by a Caucasian person, then that would be labelled as cultural appropriation. Now, we also know that Shakespeare, when he wrote his plays and he worked in the Globe Theatre, the same Globe Theatre in London, all female roles were played by men. And the guy demonised Richard III, because remember, Shakespeare lived in the time of Elizabeth I, another figure we'll get onto later. And it turns out that the Elizabethans, or the Tudors, the house which Elizabeth belonged to, they demonised Richard III. Remember, her grandfather, Henry VII, took the crown from Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth. And so to legitimise his claim to the throne, everything about Richard III was demonised. So yeah, Shakespeare played loose with the truth. And the Globe defended this decision because they put out a statement saying, theatres produce plays, and in plays anything can be possible. Well, not really. You can't really have, it's offensive now to the those on the left for an able-bodied person to play someone disabled. It's offensive for a Caucasian person to play an ethnic historical person. And you're not allowed to have a straight person play someone who is, gay. So really, we live in an age now where Eddie Izzard is allowed to be a woman, but Joan of Arc isn't. Eddie Izzard is he is a man who dresses up as a woman and identifies as a female, and yet he plays men in films. And so guessing on this now, he can be any gender he chooses, however he feels on the day. My God. So really, anything cannot be possible because actors are not allowed to act because it's offensive. They go on. Shakespeare did not write historically accurate plays. He took figures out of the past to ask questions about the world around him. Shakespeare was not afraid of discomfort, and neither is the Globe. Well, they clearly are, because if they played Joan of Arc accurately as a strong, independent, driven, adult female human, then these people on the gender ideology gang, again, they'd be really offensive, and they take action. It goes on. For centuries, Joan has been a cultural icon played in countless plays, books, films, etc. History has provided countless and wonderful examples of Joan portrayed as a woman. This production is simply offering the possibility of another point of view. That is the role of theatre, to simply ask the question, imagine if. Well, in that case, I dare the Globe Theatre to imagine if Nelson Mandela was a white man. I mean, can you imagine the uproar? And the statement from the Globe ended with, the Globe Theatre is committed to becoming an inclusive and diverse organisation willing to make necessary change. We aim to create a culture and environment in which everyone's experience at Shakespeare's Globe is equal, inclusive and equitable. Now, what do they mean by necessary change? I know what it means. It means to change the narrative, to change history and spoon-feed us lies based on their rhetoric. And the Globe Theatre is just yet another cowardly organisation or establishment that is either a willing accomplice or a tool used to weaponise against adult female human beings. And the Globe Theatre are also behind the suggestion that Queen Elizabeth I may have been non-binary as well. Now, they are basing this on the fact that Elizabeth I never married, so, that doesn't make her a female. And also the famous speech she gave before we spanked the Spanish Armada. She said, "I know I have the body but of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king." And so because she said she has the heart and stomach of a king, with a reference to her father, King Henry VIII, then they reckoned that also made her non-binary and non-female. Goodness gracious. So the Globe Theatre are rewriting women as not women and presenting it as progressive. I mean, Jesus Christ. And that's my video. That's what I think. Please let me know what you think in the comments. And until the next time, I hope you're having a great weekend. And Roger Trout.